Okay. Very appropriate topic today. Jewish war. How do Jewish people fight a war? All right. So let's see. First, I want to read what the Torah says, and then we're going to read the commentary of the Ramban, and see how does a Jewish person fight a war? Is it the same as the rest of the nations of the world? So the Torah says in this parsha, "Ki teitzi l'milchama alayvecha." When you go out to war against your enemies, v'ra'isa sus v'rechav, and you see horses and chariots, am rav mimcha, a multitude of people that are greater than you. Lo sir mehem, don't be afraid of them. Ki Hashem elokecha imach hamalchem eretz Yisrael. Hashem is with you when you fight a war. A Jewish person has to know if he's a soldier, God is with him when he's fighting the war. V'haya ki karavchem el hamilchama, when you get close to the war, v'nigash hakohen v'diber alam, the Kohen comes and he speaks to the people. What does he say? V'amar aleim, he says to them, Shema Yisrael, listen. Atem krevim hayom l'milchama alayveichem. You're coming close to a great war, a war against your enemies. Al yerech levavchem, al tiru, al tichbuzu, al tarzu mipneihem. Don't be alarmed, don't be afraid because of them. Ki Hashem elokeichem haholichem alechem, because Hashem your God goes with you, lihilachim lachem, to fight for you, imayveichem lahoshia eschem, against your enemies, to save them. V'dibra Shoftim, then, so that's what the Kohen says. The Kohen inspires the people. You know, like Lahavdil, Alfei Avdalos, you know, like Braveheart, when Mel Gibson, Yamach Shemo, goes and inspires the troops. So he inspires them, you know, how strong they are and they're going to fight for their rights. The Jews, we do it differently. The Kohen gets up and he says, Hashem is with you. Don't be afraid. God is with you. Because this idea that the entire Torah, what the Vilna Gaon says the entire Torah is for, is to come to trust in Hashem, that our success or failures, our success in life is all from Hashem. That's what the entire Torah is for. So here we're going out to war, where your life is on the line. The Kohen reminds us that Hashem is with us. Put your money where your mouth is. And it says, V'dibra Shoftim. Now the officers, the officer corps speaks to the people. Alam Lemor, saying, Mi ha'ish asher bona bayis chadash. Who built a new house? V'lo chanachu yedach v'yoshev l'veiso pen yamos b'milchama v'yishachar yichanchenu. That perhaps you just built a new house, and anyone who built a new house should go back, shouldn't fight. Maybe you planted a vineyard. You should go back to your house. Maybe you'll die in war. And another person will redeem it. Who's someone who just got married and didn't get the chance to bring his wife to his house? Perhaps he'll die and you won't get a chance to be married to your wife, so you go back. So all these people go back. They don't have to fight. And they gather the people. Who's afraid? If you're afraid of battle, you should go back to your house. That he shouldn't cause the heart of his brothers to melt as his heart. Now, so we have. Oh yeah.
An orchard.
What?
An orchard.
What, an orchard?
Just planted an orchard.
Right. I did that one, huh?
You did that.
I think I did. Right. I said vineyard.
Okay.
Vineyard. Okay. So we have. You're ready to go into war. First the Kohen comes and the Kohen says, Hashem is with you. And then after that, the officers come and say, if anyone planted a vineyard, anyone built a house, anyone got married, or if anyone's afraid, go back. Let's see what the Ramban has to say here. Ki teitzi l'milchama, v'yisasus v'rechav. Zu mitzvah b'chudeshes. This is a new mitzvah. Amr lahem ata b'vachem b'milchamas. V'tam ki Hashem elokeichem haholech imachem lilachim lachem im oivechem lahoshia eschem yazehirem shel yerech levam v'leyiru min ha'oivim. It's a commandment that you shouldn't be afraid because Hashem is with you. A person has to always know that God is with you. You're going into battle. You shouldn't be confident in your own abilities, but you should be confident because God is with you. And that's a mitzvah. Don't trust in your might. Lachshov belivim gibarim, to think that you're so strong. Gibarim that we're so strong, right? We're so smart. Va'anshe chayil, so l'melchama, we're so prepared for war. Rakshi yeshivu libam el Hashem. Turn your heart to Hashem. V'yivdechu b'yeshuaso v'yachshavu hilo b'gvur sosos yachpatz. And you should know, what does God want? He doesn't want the mighty horses. V'lo b'shokei yishir. So he doesn't want the strong people. What does Hashem want? Kirotza Hashem esireyav. Hashem wants the people that fear Him. As hamyachlim l'chasto, those that desire Hashem's kindness. V'amr lehilachim lechem im oiveichem, to do battle. And the Ramban goes on to do battle with the enemies. That usually when an army goes into war, we like to tout our own abilities. Right? America has X-Men F-35s. Actually, just an F-35, it just crashed. $200 million plane in Alaska.
Oh, really?
It froze. The fluid to bring up the wheel froze.
Did the pilot get out?
The pilot he ejected. He was able to get out.
All the fluid froze?
Some in Alaska, it was like -1 degree Fahrenheit or something. He was on comms with the engineers from Lockheed Martin for an hour as he's flying around. Whatever. Just right. The American Army is very mighty. Even myself, I'm guilty of this. I like to brag about how smart Israel is with the pagers, having all the pagers blow up. Right. I had a friend in the Israeli Army. The words he told me was, he says, "Don't be so impressed. They're a bunch of kugel eaters." He says, Israel's wars, the fact that they won their wars, it's all a miracle. It doesn't make any sense, right? Israel is very smart, but
very small.
It's very
surrounded by enemies.
Right. It doesn't make any sense. You read about the wars in '67 and even '73; they're almost destroyed. How it doesn't totally.
Yeah, I think in West Point they study those wars.
That's what it is.
There's a famous story they say.
They'll never understand.
There's a famous story. I have to check the source of it, but they say over that a Jewish student at West Point asked the professor, the commander, whoever was teaching the class, how come you don't teach any of Israel's wars? He says, because there's nothing to learn from Israel's wars. They don't make any sense. God clearly intervened. We can't learn anything from it. That's what the Ramban saying. So, but there's one of the strongest Yetzaharas, which we'll talk about later, is to believe in our own might. Right? To trust in ourselves. To think we're so strong. Here the Torah is telling us, the Ramban saying, it's a new mitzvah. No. You have to trust in Hashem. When you're fighting a war, you have to trust in Hashem. Right? The war of Hanukkah. Who fought the war? It was the Kohanim. A bunch of priests. Talking about a bunch of rabbis who went to fight the Greek army, you know? Right. Imagine like rabbis from BMG, from Lakewood, going to fight Putin's army, you know? That's what's going on, because the wars are not natural. Now continues the Ramban. So he says, if you're afraid, you should turn back. And why would you turn back? So
because you don't have trust in Hashem.
Rabbi Yosef HaGalili says that since the Kohen already came and he said you should trust Hashem, and you're still afraid, then you that's Rabbi Kiva. He says that's only for the tzaddikim. Who could really trust in Hashem that they're not going to get killed in war? If you're a tzaddik, then you can trust in Hashem. So someone says, I've done a lot of averos. I don't know if a miracle is going to be done for me. So you could turn around. Now, just as an aside, there's a big debate about this. Can you trust in Hashem if you're not a tzaddik? Meaning, let's say I did many averos. I'm not a good guy. Can you still trust in Hashem? So the Chovas Habava sounds like if you want to trust Hashem, then first you got to do what He asks you for. But if you look at there's many sources, like the Chavetz Chaim says, the fact, even if you did averos, you can still have trust in Hashem. You can still trust God. The fact that you trust God in and of itself is a schus, is a merit. It's a good thing. It's a mitzvah you're doing. By trusting in God, you're doing a mitzvah. And Hashem will even help those that don't deserve it. So I'm not perfect. So even though I'm not perfect, I can still trust in Hashem. And the fact that I'm trusting in Hashem will serve as a merit that things should work out, that they'll save me. Now, so that's what Rabbi Yosef HaGalili says. Please, there's chicken and rice.
Come sit down. I don't know where rice is, maybe it's on the other side. Chicken.
So he says Rabbi Yosef HaGalili says the person he's not going to have bitachon because he did averos. Whereas Rabbi Kiva says the person's not going to have bitachon because he's not going to make. He's afraid. He's just afraid of war, so he should turn around. He's afraid. He doesn't have the proper bitachon. Now. Right, because it's Chovas Habava says by definition you have to trust something in life. You trust me right now that I didn't poison the food, right?
Do we?
Yeah, you have to.
Do we trust that you didn't poison the food?
Let's see what happens. No matter what, by definition, a human being has to trust. So we either trust somebody else, you trust me, I didn't poison it, you trust in yourself, and trust in Hashem. Now, it's one thing, I think one of the hardest things is, you can trust another person, you trust your boss, he's going to give you a paycheck. So you really trust Hashem that he's going to give you the paycheck. So that's bitachon versus another person versus Hashem. But what the hardest thing is, I think, is having trust in Hashem versus trust in ourselves. It's very hard when we do something, we think our success is coming because, like I said, I'm fighting a war. I've been working out and training as a Navy SEAL for years, and I think because of my elite training and how much I've worked out and how smart I am and how tough I am, that's why I'm going to be successful. But the mitzvah is to believe, no, my success is really coming from Hashem. I could put in all the work I want, but whether I'm successful or not is all coming from Hashem. That is very difficult. That's why sometimes people find that they have the most bitachon when they realize it's hopeless. There's nothing else they can do. If God forbid a person has an illness, there's nothing else the doctor says, nothing, right? I can't do anything. That's when you have no other choice but to put all your trust in Hashem. Okay. Now the Orach Chaim says that this is actually referring, this battle, when we said you go out to battle, is actually referring also, it's a hint, it's referring to a real war, but it's also a hint of the battle, of the biggest battle that we ever face, which is the battle against the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination who tries to get us to do Averos. And he says, the Yetzer Hara has two advantages. Va'amar, let's read the pasuk. He teitzel milchama, when you go out to war, the pasuk says, and you'll see sus v'rechav, you'll see that the enemy is mightier than you. What does that mean? The Yetzer Hara is much smarter than us. He's been doing this for a while. He's a warrior. He likes to trick us. He knows what he's doing. Right? We're not prepared for battle. Right? The first thing that most of the time we don't even realize we're in a battle. Right? We're like spacing out and doing whatever we feel like. The Yetzer Hara, he's trying to trick us at every point. I don't mean to get anyone anxious or neurotic about it, but that wasn't the goal here. But someone said that the best chavrus is the Yetzer Hara because he's always there. He's very smart and he's always there. Right? So he has one advantage. The other advantage is that we have a body. Our bodies want to do Averos, want to steal, want to do things we shouldn't, want to eat anything we want, do whatever we want. So the Yetzer Hara's got two advantages. So what's the way? So it seems like it's a hopeless cause. So what do you do? So the pasuk continues, Ki Hashem Elokecha imach, Hashem is with you. The only way, it's true, taka true. If we were up to our own devices, we would not be able to defeat the Yetzer Hara. He's too smart, and there's too much of a drive to do bad. But we have Hashem on our side. It says Hashem, the Gemara says the person wouldn't be able to beat the Yetzer Hara if Hashem wouldn't help him. So not only do we have to have trust in Hashem when we're doing physical things like earning a living or fighting a war, but even when it comes to spiritual matters, we have to have trust in Hashem. Whatever our particular battle is, we're working on a particular midah, we're working on being more kind to others, we're working on our anger, we're working on being more generous. On our own, we're not going to be able to overcome it. But we say, Hashem, I'm really trying to work on myself to become a better person. Can you please help me? And you have trust in Hashem that since I'm trying to do the right thing, Hashem's going to help me. Without that, you're not going to be successful. He says that Melech Biderman says a story. If you're gonna read one parsha booklet a week, I highly recommend Melech Biderman. They send it to you. They have like 3 or 4 languages already. They could send it to you, and I get it in English because that's the easiest for me.
How do you get a hold of that?
There's a email. Let me see if it's here. You subscribe to email. You go. I'll give you this one after. It's
okay.
TorahWellsprings.com. TorahWellsprings.com. Yeah. What do they got here? They got Hebrew, English, Yiddish, Spanish, French, Italian, and Russian.
Wow.
So he has a story here that there was in Israel. There's a fellow from Ashdod. The guy was from Ashdod. I guess he was visiting his parents in Bnei Brak, and as he's driving home, he realizes he doesn't have his phone. So he said he must have left his phone. Remember that he was using his phone at his parents' house. The phone must be at his parents' house. So he drives back to Bnei Brak, to get the phone, and he realizes when he gets to his parents' house that the phone was in his pocket the whole time, spacing out. So he starts driving back, and he sees there's a guy waiting for a bus, another religious kid waiting for a bus. So I'll give him a ride. He says, "You want a ride? Where are you going?" He says, "I'm going to Ashdod." He says, "Oh, that's where I'm going. Let me give you a ride." So he says, "You know what happened?" He said, "I was waiting for the bus, and he says I was having a big problem with an iPhone. I guess he's in yeshiva. He says I was so addicted to my iPhone, I wasn't doing anything in yeshiva, and my Rebbe sent me to a person to help me get off of this addiction. I got rid of my iPhone, and I meet with him once a week in Bnei Brak, and he counsels me, and I've been doing very well. And as I was getting on the bus, I saw my friends, and my friends all had iPhones, and I knew that if I went on the bus for this long bus ride, I was going to be looking at it, and I would just be like sucked right back in and be my addiction. So I said, you know what? I'm not getting on the bus. I'm not getting on the bus, and I'll see what happens. And then you come along to pick me up. Point of the story: the guy was only there to see him because he had a thought in his head that he forgot his phone at his parents' house when he never forgot it. The point of the story is if you try to do the right thing, Hashem helps you out. Hashem sent this guy to pick him up so he has a ride home because he was trying to do the right thing. That's what we would never be able to beat the Yetzer Hara if it wasn't if Hashem doesn't help us. Okay, so we learned the purpose of the entire Torah is to come to trust in Hashem. It's not only trusting in Hashem in physical matters and our health, our livelihood, fighting a war. When we think about what's going on in Israel, a big schus, a big merit is that the Israeli army is very smart, but really even as smart as they are, it doesn't make sense that how successful they've been and that how a lot of tragedies happen, but that there haven't been more. It's really maybe you guys are a little older than me. Maybe you knew this already, but how just for me, seeing how anti-Semitic the world is, it really brought it out to me this time. I was a little more naive and said, yeah, there's anti-Semites out there, but then when I see how irrational people are, like it's like certain music I don't listen to because the bands are so anti-Semitic now, they're so pro-Palestinian. It doesn't make any sense. It's like totally illogical, and everything that they make up, it doesn't make any sense. The only way we're going to be protected is from Hashem. So that's what we should work on.
Less than 1% of the population.